Hello, welcome to Living in the Light, and I'm Mary Amy, and I'm all about shifting away darkness, guiding you to your truest potential, and cracking open that beautiful glowing light in your heart. How is everyone this evening? Welcome to the fifth dimension. We are in telepathy school. Well, we're a few days away from some holidays. Are you spending some time getting ready for it and getting out there and celebrating and enjoying and having fun and laughter in your life? What have you been up to? Did you wake up this morning and what was your first thought of the day? If you could see it in front of you, if all your thoughts were listed before you, what would they be? Would they be positive? Would they be negative? Because we know cause and effect. We can generate an outcome through our thoughts because our thoughts have a charged impulse. There are feelings and emotions attached to it, and they're very, very powerful, just like our words and our actions. So today, on this Matrix Thursday work week, tomorrow's Friday. I won't be doing a live tomorrow. Today's the last day. I did not get to one yesterday. I went to New York City, which was very cold. It was colder than it was here where I live. And it was a wonderful day. It was very joyful. Well, today is December 22nd, and we are very close to some holidays, aren't we? Are you going to spend some time with your family and friends and eat some yummy food and just relax and take, some of the burden away from you, and maybe tune more into love at this time and have more gratitude for this moment? Let's be in this moment right now. So today, anyone who's joining us, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so others can find us, because this is the Living in the Light community. So today we're going to cover topics like climate change hoax. Are we believing in that climate change and that all of that news that goes on out there about how our environment is shifting and we have to be careful? And then we are going to cover JFK assassination involvement by the CIA. Are you hearing about that? I am. Why do I have a smile on my face? Because I'm so grateful that the truth is coming out. I love a mystery. I always share with you that when I was a kid and when I was in literature or writing class or, any kind of English class, the teacher would say, "What kind of books would you like to read, Mary?" And I would say a mystery, because I want to learn all about what's behind the curtain. And so, am I a conspiracy theorist? No, I'm a truth seeker, maybe like you are as well. And I've awakened from this illusion that we've been living in. I've opened up my eyes and I have a little bit more awareness. And I'm here to give suggestions and to kind of put some light on some kind of topics that maybe we're supposed to not talk about. Hey, Michael K., thanks for joining us. I hope you like the video and subscribe. So it's climate change hoax tonight, JFK assassination involvement by the CIA, Christ consciousness, and I'm also going to bring up psychic attacks, because I had a psychic attack last night when I was sleeping, and I haven't had one of those in quite a while. In fact, I thought that I was eliminating that from my life for good, forever. However, sure enough, one of those evil entities just joined my sleeping state and woke me up, and it was a little horrifying, and we'll get into that. So we want to talk about what exactly is a psychic attack and also how to prevent it. Anyone who's joining us, write in the chat. Tell me where you're coming from. Michael K., you are coming from Vermont, and I'm in New York. Why am I so happy today? I say tune into your heart. I guess I'm happy for a lot of reasons. I did a bunch of Christmas shopping. I celebrate Christmas, and I feel like that's done, and I feel relieved about that. I also am just grateful. I'm just grateful for so much. I'm grateful for everyone. I'm grateful for you, your worthy being of light. And I think that I just look around and I feel as though I sense that I'm making progress and good things are coming. We say in 2023, so much is going to be available to us. And we're going to kind of get into that probably next week, because it will be on our horizon, won't it? It will be coming towards us, 2023, and we're going to have to think about that exactly. What kind of plans are you going to be making? And what kind of, what are you eliminating from your life? I always say, like, shedding that bag of attachments, cutting it off and leaving it on the side of the road. Because as we get into 2023, we're embarking on this new civilization. This old one was going into the dumpster. And we're like, oh my goodness, what's about to happen to us? It's going to be breathtaking. It's going to be beautiful. Peace on earth. We're all going to come out of our homes and hug each other. And how are we going to get there? We're going to get there through love. We are definitely. Hi, Bob Hardy. 7 where I'm from today. Okay, whatever that means. 7 where you're from. 7. The number 7. Okay. Share with us what that means, Bob Harding. Bob Harding, you are coming from, did you tell me? Did I write it down? Let's see. I'm not sure. You probably did. I know I've asked you. Is it? Hold on. I know. Oh, hey, Mad Marsh, you're back again today. Oh, it's cold. It's -7. Oh, I didn't get that. I was thinking the number 7. It's cold. Iowa. That's right, Iowa. I'm telling you, I got to get a little cheat sheet. You know what it is? I'm like a creature of habit. I really am. For all this free spirit personality that I have when it comes down to things like the food I eat and how I do things, I kind of stick to what works for me, and then I don't deviate until something blows up in my face, and then maybe I will. But until then, I kind of do the same thing over until it doesn't work. Although I do sense new information coming in, and if I want to make a change, like I've spoken about your energetic pattern, right? Our energetic patterns. So if we are creating this new civilization through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions, and the new life. Because like I've said, does anyone out there really care about what you want? Well, in the new earth, this new civilization, absolutely, because we're going to be going mind to mind. But until then, it's just you. So we stay with our own heart and our spirit. We kind of negate what's going on in the physical reality, and we tune into exactly what is coming to us. Is an impression coming to you? Is someone making the suggestion over and over? Maybe different people within a 24-hour time period. Take notice. But if you want to shift your energetic pattern, like I say, your 5 humongous goals. And you say, well, how am I going to get that goal when I'm doing all the same things? You're not. So you must shift your energetic pattern. And that is going to be by, when you pull out of the driveway, do you go right or left? Maybe you visit different people. Maybe you change up some of your patterns. Your energetic pattern is something that kind of is very, I don't want to say stiff, but it's very permanent. And you want to change something. Maybe just shift up how you do things, speak to new people. I guess look at your fears would probably be the number one factor, changing your energetic pattern, because when we carry around our fears, we're blocking opportunities. So change your energetic pattern. Anyway, let's get into climate change, because we are going to talk about what, Bob Harding says it's -7 in Iowa. So do you have snow? We were thinking we might get snow tonight, but we ended up getting freezing rain. I went out, I have my job in the Matrix, and there's a lot of shoppers out there right now. And it was kind of an interesting day. A lot of people getting a little panicky because they didn't get the right gifts yet. But you know what? There's always tomorrow. And then there's Christmas Eve. And then there's no time left, is there? Unless you give someone a rain check for a gift. So climate change. Why am I bringing up these topics? Why? Because they're very relevant right now, because we are hearing what is the purpose. They're saying, we're going to get into this, the electric cars, they're pushing the electric cars. They're saying basically, if they want us to do something, and who am I saying? When I say they, I kind of generalize they because I don't want to be pinpointed, and I am over the target, and I will say the target. So they is those leaders or those not official, not elected, maybe selected, those actors out there. And they're wearing the impressive suits and they're getting on the mainstream media and the news and they're sitting up there all so impressive and important. And I'm so important. And let me just read from the teleprompter exactly what they want me to say. Is it their words? Well, I do know if you look in some of historically, you can see that there's what's called speech writers. So is it coming from that person, that selected leader? Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's coming from a speechwriter because sometimes when they speak candidly, they're all thumbs. They're all like da, and they're not very articulate. They're only articulate when they have a teleprompter in front of them or an ear prompter. I worked with that. I know exactly what that is because I took hosting classes. And so what you do is you have this it's in your ear and it travels down behind you, or maybe it's without the wire. And if you get good at it, someone can speak to you and then you say what they're saying if you get a good rhythm. So you don't even need a teleprompter. And so this climate change seems to be something that's a big discussion right now because it's going to save us. Climate change is going to save us because everything is warming up. Now, yes, there is these solar flares coming up, these mass eruptions from the sun, and we're going to have the solar flash, which is exciting because it's going to knock out technology. And everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, like when I was in New York City last night, guess what? You look around. And what is everyone doing everywhere you go? They're taking a video. They're not even in the moment. They're not in the moment. They're taking a video. They're on their phone. They're looking down. They're walking across the street on their phone. They think that this is it, the technology. You are highly advanced. You don't need this phone stuff. And when the solar flash wipes out technology, what's everyone going to say? They're going to basically spend a lot of time in the bathroom because they're going to be so stressed out. Some of them are, oh, I don't have my phone. Oh, yeah. They're going to freak out. And we might have to get in our car and go visit people. We might have to see them face to face. And guess what? There won't be any more trolls because there's nothing to troll. They can't troll you. The only people that are going to be able to communicate are those that are coming from a place of higher consciousness because it's mind to mind. And there are going to be those out there that are coming from a place of love. They're going to be able to communicate. But all those that are behind us at the end of the line, because they're not the first time line arrivals, but hey, there's plenty of room here. There's plenty. Come join us in the fifth dimension. So this climate change hoax, it's going to be no need for an electric car, they say, right? We're not going to need an electric car because we're not going to have technology. We're not going to need it. We're not going to need it. It refers to the long-term shifts in temperature and the weather patterns. Humans burn fossil fuels like coal, I'm tumbling, aren't I? Coal and oil, gas, and the main cause, they say, of climate change is all of our fossil fuels and what we're doing. And all this big population of 8 billion? Is it really 8 billion? I don't know if I believe that unless I see it for myself, because I'm finding that there's a lot of bots out there. How many people really are there? So burning fossil fuels generates greenhouse gas emissions. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I'm really giving an explanation of what climate change, is all about and why they're making a big stink. Although they are flying around in all their private jets, aren't they? All these leaders, these impressive leaders with all the power. And they know so much more than us, don't they? Because they're so honest and they have so much integrity. And they're so strong. I don't think so. I'm starting to believe that maybe there's somebody behind them. Like we're their puppets, and then there's another puppeteer above those leaders. And there might just be, like when I was a kid, there was this little ventriloquist that had this guy on his lap, this little man on his lap, and he would make the little dummy, they called it a dummy, speak, and he would do it without moving his mouth. And so I wonder if that's what's going on here with these leaders. They have someone that they're speaking for. So it's appealing to the public by promoting climate change. Why? Why are they promoting this climate change? Everybody here knows. I know you guys do, because you're the first time arrivals. You're a truth seeker like I am. You're an awakened being of light. You're highly advanced. You're a sacred being. Why? Because it's actually benefiting them. It's benefiting them because, a global warming threatens all living creatures, and they say it's the end of the world. Negative effects are going to cause this. And how is it not true? Well, I'm going to say why it's a lie. Okay, is the ice forming? Is less ice forming? From what I understand, answer is no. The ice in Antarctica and Lake Superior remains. Cold temperatures continue. Record levels of snow, record amounts. The polar bears are not in any danger. Oceans are normal. Not really that normal, because we know that there's so much junk in there. They've been putting so many plastics. It's everywhere. And who knows what they're seeding out in our environment in the clouds. You see those planes going by and the chemtrails. The moose are thriving. So scientists really do not agree with global warming. I think those that have to and must for security of their position, maybe they're threatened. But overall, climate change is just some way of gaining more money by the governments to gain more money, because what they do is they label it climate change, and then they say we need money for the climate change because we have to make electric cars, or we have to change policies, and we have to protect our environment. Do they care about our environment? I don't know if they really care about their environment. They care about making more money because money is so important to them. It's such a capitalist world we live in. It's about consumerism. So are electric cars efficient? Apparently not. It's the charging stations, charging times are not enough to charge the cars going long distances. They're higher costs. From what I understand, batteries. What do you do with the batteries? What are there going to be fields of batteries? The batteries needed to replace are very expensive. It's going to be more expensive to have an electric car than a regular car. There seems to be chronic problems with the cars, like lights, displays, failing sensors. So there's some issues here with this climate change and these electric cars. I believe there's no need for an electric car. I believe that we're going to have what's called free energy. Nikola Tesla knew all about that. That was in Tartaria. There was free energy, I believe, to free energy. There are cars that they invented that run on water, but the government bought those patents, and those people just seem to just disappear who invented that. There's been a lot of inventions. We mentioned Nasara Jasara, and how when that law's passed, when that act comes to fruition, there's 6,000 technology patents that are going to be released, and some of them are related to free energy. So how do you get free energy? It's something related to the ether that's above the clouds and water. Somehow it's so funny, because you say we're so advanced. There's no other beings in the whole entire universe and galaxy and across all these multitudes of solar systems. But how is it that after all this time, no one has invented a car that runs on something that would be healthier for us? They have. It's just that it's being hidden from us so that they can have control over us, and so they can make more money. Money. It's really not important. What's important? It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you have out here, and it doesn't matter your status or your career, your job. You're highly worthy and you're lovable, and don't forget that. And we always say, what are your 3 authentic characteristics that make you a very special being. You have your own blueprint. As your DNA becomes activated, these light codes come in. Are you getting ringing in the ears? Are your sleep patterns changing? Are you are you eating different foods? Some foods are not settling in your stomach like it used to, or it turns you off. Meat, I got turned off to meat last January. I'm just making some suggestions about what's happening. Maybe you're getting like a little tingling in your legs, or you're having memories that you never had from your past that they're coming forward. Maybe you're going through dark night of the soul. These are all ascension symptoms, because when you awaken, your old version of you is going to just kind of collide with this new version of you, and it's everything that's within you. The best version of you is going to come forward. You're going to have self-realization. That little person that you were when you were born, that child that was also starry-eyed, and you wake up and you'd think everything was wonderful, and you told the truth, and you knew exactly what you wanted to do with your life when you were little. You was like, I want to be, and you just drew pretty pictures if you were nurtured, and you were loved. That's where we're going to. We're going back to that love. So just be aware of that. So getting on to the JFK assassination the JFK assassination involvement by the CIA. Does anyone have any perspective on that? The reason I'm bringing up this topic is because there's a lot of social media that's bringing up this, and it's been found out most recently that the CIA was involved in the JFK assassination. Are we surprised? It was never really proven that his assassinator, Lee Harvey Oswald, could have done that all primarily on his own. I mean, the whole thing seemed very fantastic, if not impossible, that he would coordinate this. And was he a Russian spy, and et cetera, et cetera. Allegedly, now I'm hearing that I'm reading that he was actually involved with the CIA. So what is the truth? We will find out, because disclosure is coming. It's totally coming, disclosure. So JFK, we know who he was. He was the president of the United States. He was on November 22nd, 1963, he was assassinated. John Fitzgerald Kennedy at 12:30. He was the 35th president, and it happened in Dallas, Texas. And he was driving in a car that had it was a convertible. And we all know this historic video. We've probably seen it. You've probably seen it as well. And he was only 59 years old. He was a young man. Real eyes, real eyes, real lies. Oh, I like that. And now we're finding out, like many things that are being recovered, information is being recovered, just like your memory is going to be recovered. Your memory was wiped clean. And it's kind of like falls under when I mentioned day before yesterday about brainwashing. And I mentioned about how the MS mainstream media hypnotizes us, and basically it's brainwashing us. And so we're being brainwashed. We've been brainwashed to believe certain events that have happened. So disclosure is coming, and it's going to kind of change everything that we know to be true. And if you've awakened as I have, and maybe it was recently, maybe it took you a while, and it could have been because it was a mystical awakening, you awakened spiritually. And it might have been an awakening that came, and now it's turning mystical and spiritual. It might have come because you couldn't quite handle the way our physical reality has been turning out, how information is coming to the surface, and it just doesn't seem right. It seems evil. It seems like there's a lot of lies. And you might have, after time, said, I just can't believe this anymore. I have to look elsewhere. And that's how it came to be for you to be awakened. and you awakened and you went down the rabbit hole, like we all do, down the rabbit hole. And it was kind of disheartening. I at first, when I started reading some of this really satanic and pedophilia and all this other horrible human trafficking, child trafficking, tunnels, all of this kind of stuff, I was sick. I couldn't look at it. It made me cry because I'm empathic, and I was really disappointed in humanity. And I thought, could these be humans that hurt other humans this way? And why would they? And it really comes down to, believe it or not, it comes down to their spiritual belief. It comes down to not having any faith, and selling yourself to the devil. And maybe that's what happened in the situation of the JFK assassination. Those that had the ability to coordinated this assassination. And disclosure recently reveals the CIA aided in the assassination. There's been considerable speculation for over 60 years about what really happened over and over again. If you look into films alone, there's been all these narratives, all these different versions, whether it was with JFK, whether it was with Jackie Onassis, his wife, whether it was with Marilyn Monroe, whether it was with Robert Kennedy, all the brother, all of these stories, because it was very mysterious. It just did not sit well, just like the solar landing on the moon. How did they actually land on the moon? And they didn't have the advanced equipment for that. And we find out that one director, it's escaping my mind right now, but the one director admitted before he passed away that he shot the video. So it's the same kind of thing. So Lee Harvey Oswald was set up by these selected officials, or he was part of it, whatever it was. Maybe he was threatened. A lot of threatening goes on. They catch something about you and they use it against you and they ruin you. Maybe they threaten to take all your money. The U.S. government, so the cover up hid the participants of the government that were involved. And now we're realizing that, yes, indeed, the CIA was involved. And we believe, I've always believed, we see all these TV shows about the FBI and the CIA, and they're walking around, they're helping people. I don't know if they're really helping people. It seems as though they're almost an arm of the government that has these black projects and these covert operations, Operation Mockingbird, Operation Paperclip, Operation blah, blah, blah. And it's always our government that's involved in doing these very dishonest acts. And so it sounds like the CIA was involved in this covert operation, and they've committed crimes. Now, was it bloodlines? Was it these very wealthy bloodlines that have been running through America? Was it the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the secret societies, the Nazis that seem to still be around, whether or not we realize it or not? So why was he assassinated? Well, because he obviously was not interested in following through on what some of our government was interested in doing, or maybe they wanted to cover something up he knew. Whatever it may be, I sense that we're going to find out, but just be aware of this, because you can't believe that there's one lie and not another lie. You can't just say, oh yeah, I believe, yeah, that seems like they did something honest, but then in everything else you believe them to be honest. Now, just to me, all of it, I don't give any, it's not credible to me. Our government is not credible to me, because I just sense as though it's not for the good of the people. Like I've shared with you, if you were a leader and you really were a leader caring about the people, you see some of these stories, and maybe it's the doctor in the town or the mayor in the town, and all he's doing is just running around trying to take care of everybody. And they look kind of disheveled. They don't look put together, because what are they doing? when you're spending that much time helping others, you don't look all set perfectly well. You just don't, because you don't have time to do that. You're doing your job. So if all of these selected leaders were doing their jobs, they wouldn't look so perfect and put together. And they just wouldn't have time to be caring about how they look. They would just be spending time caring about human nature and the people. Hey, T, thanks for joining us. So I gather that JFK, from my perspective, now, of course, you know that being the truth seeker I am, I only really, truly 1,000,000% believe something. And if it's in front of me, or I sense it to be true, and I'm pretty accurate. And so JFK, to me, seems like he must have been some kind of, a truth seeker doing the right thing. And his knowledge of some kind of corruption probably did him in. There was some kind of secret that he wanted to share, and he wasn't willing to keep his mouth shut. And I'm sure that that's kind of what happened there, because it had to be a pretty big deal for him to be taken out. He was blocking the way of someone's plan. So he wasn't going along maybe with the deep state and what was going on there. He wanted to share the fact that ETs existed. Okay, that's true. I did read that. I wondered about that. So he knew about extraterrestrials' existence. And that too is coming out. Now, he passed away in 1963. So that is 60 years, isn't it? It's almost 60 years, November 22nd, 1960. So it's 59 years ago. And he died when he was 59. Isn't that interesting? He passed when he was 59, and 59 years ago, this information came out. There's synchronicity. Well, I sense that it's time to move on to Christ consciousness. And then we're going to get on to, I'm going to mention psychic attacks, because I did have a psychic attack last night. And then we'll do our psychic phenomenon. Let me remind you about angels before we move on to Christ consciousness. And we're getting into Christ consciousness because it is the time of year for Christ. It's going to be Christ's birthday, or the date that they proclaim to be his birthday, which is December 25th. And that's just around the corner. Today's the 22nd. So we're 3 days prior to Christmas. So angels, we love angels. Angels are beings of light. They're truth seekers. They are divine beings of light, and they're here to kind of help us gain awareness, maybe point out and bring us to a place of understanding in other aspects of our lives. Maybe they whisper in your ear some information. They send you a miracle. They are guides. They're messengers, and they're warriors. And they've been here for us really to protect humanity from harm. You might feel a tingling on your head, a brush across your face. You can ask for angels to come into your existence, into your life, and help you kind of down whatever path you're interested in going. We all have a destiny, and we've spoken about that many times. And I say, what is your destiny? If you imagined it right here, if it was a tiny little version of your destiny, because obviously you're not putting your destiny in the palm of your hand, unless it's something material that fits in the palm of your hand. But most of the time, your destiny is going to be a destination. And your destination is going to be, maybe it's climbing the highest mountain on the planet. Maybe it's, I'm going to be a novelist. And how do you approach your destiny? Well, first thing is, you don't share it with anyone. And why is that? Because people's thoughts are that powerful. If you have not prepared, if you have not grounded yourself, if you have not made something concrete related to your destiny, you might have someone say to you, you can't have that. What makes you think you can have that? Or they put all this doubt in your mind about whatever it is you want. Here you are creating this beautiful life for yourself. And then you get really excited about it, and you share it with the wrong person. And unfortunately, that can be the detriment of your destiny, of whatever you planned. Is it one of your 5 humongous goals? because it's going to take you off your game. Then you're going to start to have doubt. Well, maybe I can't do it. Well, I don't know if that's a possibility. Well, it might be too, maybe, and then all of a sudden 2 years go by, and then you're in another place and you're starting all over trying to create your destiny. We're not going to wait 2 years. We're going to do it right now. We are quantum leaping, sudden abrupt transition. You're going to get to your destiny right now. And how are you going to get there? You are going to visualize it right here, right here. Now, put your hands out right now. And what is your destiny? You're looking at it. Imagine it right in front of you. What is it? Now you close your eyes. Imagine it with all your senses. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What is it exactly that you want? Because the more clear you are with your destiny, the faster you're going to get there. Because you want to get there. You're not waiting 30, 40, 50 years. Or, you know what? Maybe 5 years down the road. If you have it right now, why are you waiting? You got to figure it out right now. Because you can reach your destiny. If you've conceived it, wait, how does it go? If you can, anyway, it doesn't matter. I know there's like a rhyme there. If you conceive it, you can achieve it. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. You can achieve it. I'm sharing with you. You're highly advanced. Now, the more that you awaken, and as you awaken, you might get some weird stuff. You might start to lose your identity. Your personality might change a little bit. You might say, oh, I remember that part. I used to be like that when I was younger. You don't want to sabotage your destiny. You want to become exactly who you were meant to be. And that is going to be through allowing all of you to come forward and allowing all of you to express yourself and realize exactly what that destiny is. And guess what? It's not going to be following a line of people. You know, I'm a robot following these people, or you're going down a long, winding line of people like you're at one of these big theme parks. You're not doing that. Forget about that. Who has time for that? Right here in this moment, you create your destiny. You're going to visualize it. You're going to imagine it. What is it like? What does it feel? And if you have any negativity around it where you say, oh, I just can't do it, go to the source of how that happened. Did someone tell you when you were a child you couldn't do it? Did one of your family members, a relative, a friend? Because if someone's going to lift you up, if you say, oh, that person's supportive of me, a supportive person's going to lift you up and they're going to love you and they're going to say, hey, if that's important to you, good for you. You can do it. They're going to back you up. But if they say, oh, I don't think so, it's ruining everything. So make it concrete, okay? And that might be investigate, research it, involve yourself in it. And as soon as you've been clear and you're on the right path, synchronicity will happen, which is when there's crossover of events that have nothing to do with each other. And then you've reached synchronicity. And it's just validation. You're on the right path. Bob Harding, what's going on? I don't know if it was a psychic attack, but I slept terrible and woke up with negative thoughts. I was able to overcome it easily. Okay, well, we're going to get down to that in just a minute. So let's get into Christ consciousness. And then we'll speak of psychic attacks. And then we're going to speak of psychic phenomenon. We're going to, of course, do some exercises. Now, let me remind you that you're a worthy being of light. You're lovable. You know, you're a sacred being of light. Let me remind you to imagine an invisible line surrounding you 12 inches from your body. No one is allowed to come into your space mentally, physically, emotionally, or physically without permission. And so that might mean that you just say to somebody in your life, not right now. I need a little breather, not right now. Because with everything that's going on out in this physical reality and within ourselves, the more we tune into ourselves, the more rest we need, the more water we need, and the more kind of solitude and stillness. And I've shared with you how important it is to turn off your electronics, walk in nature. If you don't feel well, and I don't mean physically, if you're not well, make sure you're eating enough, drinking enough, resting enough. But if you don't mentally feel well, the worst thing that you can do is stay indoors. The worst thing you can do. And why is that? because you're shutting yourself out. There isn't any kind of healthy air. Get outside, even 5 to 15 minutes, and just spend some time. Maybe take a little walk by yourself, not with your phone, not talking while you're walking. That's not going to heal you. Get outside. If you don't feel well, broaden your horizons, wake up. Nature will wake you up. A strong, healthy tree, some flowers, grass, being by a body of water. And if it's really bad, journal. Get a little composition book and write down everything that's bothering you, everything that you're feeling, to release it. Okay? Now, Christ consciousness. Like I say, I bring up topics because it's very, very evident when certain information is kind of surfacing, and I want to just bring it up, or I see it's about to surface, and what is the value in it? They say Christ consciousness. So Christ, the Messiah, the chosen one, it's the personal name for Jesus. And it's from the Greek word anointed one. So the Christ consciousness is all about finding the truth, an ideal type of humanity, to be awake. It's basically this idea, consciousness is the state of being awake and aware. So Christ consciousness is coming in a place of and being in a place of love and compassion, because we know Christ, we know Jesus. He was a do-gooder, wasn't he? He was a healer. And so basically Christ consciousness is this higher consciousness. It's this state of service to others, which is what we've shared, which is the law of one, I am. Christ consciousness is all about, like we say, service to others, which is 50% of your thoughts and actions are all about servicing others, taking care of others. If someone's having some kind of misstep, or they're having a difficult time, or they look like they're kind of alone, you reach out yourself to them, maybe verbally, emotionally, physically, and say, hey, are you okay? Because we are all one. We are all part of one being. It's all about unity. So one, the circle one, we are all one. And the more that you become awakened and aware, you realize that every single living creature and every single tree and plant and all of our elements, air, water, fire, and earth, and the ether, we're all connected. So Christ consciousness, the Messiah, the ideal of type of humanity, which is the way we're headed right now. Anyone who's joining us, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're interested. And so, Christ was the deliverer, the great deliverer, the savior of men. And consciousness is all about being awake and aware and having knowledge. So Christ consciousness is awareness of the higher self, part of the universal system. It's becoming aware that there's basically meaning to life. There's something out there that's bigger than all of us. And individually, it's about all of us being part of one. And that's why I say to you, welcome to the fifth dimension. Welcome to this timeline. Because we are all kind of lifting ourselves up to a state of being one, to the light, all of this consciousness. And I also have spoken about how our telepathy is important, because that's our consciousness. We are all going to be connected, collectively connected through our minds. And I'm not really liking the idea of the AI. I'm hearing AI, brain chips, and all of this artificial intelligence, robots and Elon Musk and Star, whatever it's called, Star something, and these satellites. I guess it was a year ago, I saw this thing in the sky, and it looked like I was with one of my daughters, and I saw these lights, and it was lines of dots. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 dots, and in a line, 2 rows, and I was said, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a UFO. And then I Googled it and I looked it up on DuckDuckGo, and it was said it was one of these Starlink satellites. And I said, you know what? That doesn't seem right. That thing looks like it's pretty big and it's over our heads. And is this good for us? What kind of frequencies is it sending out into our, in our space here where we're living? And I'm not really a fan of that. And when they say, oh, faster Wi-Fi, I don't really care. Who cares about faster Wi-Fi? It's not really important. We're important. So let's figure that out. I know you probably have. The consciousness of God transcending animal instincts, the highest state of intellectual development, emotional maturity is Christ consciousness. It's being in a place where Christ is, the thought where Jesus was, and you always say, oh, well, he was so good. He was so good. He was so good. That's where we're all going. We're going to be so good. We're going to be good beings. And we're going to be kind, compassionate beings of light. And we're going to come from a place of love. We're going to start out by loving ourselves. And let me tell you, that's not the easiest thing, because when you look and you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I'm so embarrassed. How can I ever love myself? How can I ever love myself when I did that? I'm embarrassed. I'm shameful. The worst thing you can do is to look away. You have to look at yourself and accept it and say, okay, I'm owning up to this. I'm owning up to this. I'm loving myself and accepting myself. After you get through that, it's going to be clear sailing to loving everyone else out there. So achieving a higher state of being, no matter your spiritual affiliation. This isn't about religion. This isn't about what your religious background is. This is a mindset. This is how you're thinking. It's open to all. It's a vessel of love. We're a vessel of love, each one of us. We just have to be open to it. We have to accept it. When I'm sharing all of this, we are only blocking ourselves. It's just one thought away. And the more that you awaken, the more that you become aware and memories come to you from your past, maybe situations or circumstances that you hadn't looked at for a while. And that happened to me over the weekend, that I rethought a relationship, and I had spoken about forgiveness, and I asked for forgiveness. I visualized asking for forgiveness during one of our exercises. I guess I'm not all the way better. You know that I had laryngitis for 3 days last week? Or was it this week? I guess it was part of last week and part of this week. Anyway, I apologize. I'm doing my very best. So our true nature, our birthright, we're going to see all of the beauty in all human beings. And that's where we're going with Christ consciousness. It's very exciting. Oh, I was just going to ask you, you were sounding better. Yes. At nighttime, I think it's the worst when you've had a cold, because you're laying down at least. So I prop myself up, but then you start to get a dry throat. But you know what? I didn't take any antibiotics. I was really trying to heal myself. I think I took too many antibiotics in the past. I'm really trying to get to a place where I don't have to, unless it's like dangerous if I don't. So we are seeing everyone out there, and every creature and every plant and animal and every being, their beauty. We aren't perfect. We're imperfect, perfect beings of light, but we're going to see all the imperfection, and that's beautiful. So faith of Jesus Christ through attitudes, and we are discovering that there's another choice out there. There's another thought process that we can have. There's another attitude that we can carry. And we can kind of create the life that we want to live through our thoughts and our actions. So just pay attention, be aware of, sometimes we're in a state of, we're very stressed. We have tons of anxiety. There's not enough time. I sense lately that there's not enough time. Yesterday was the shortest day of the year, whatever that means. But there's not enough time to achieve everything we would like. We have to pay our bills. We have to pay our taxes. and we have to just, you know, sleep and eat. And then there's not really a lot of time after that to do any of these fulfilling activities and find our purpose. So, in the meantime, in those little moments that you have, those tiny moments, try to look elsewhere and see if you could plot out your life, if you could look into a new direction, become creative some way. Think of something new you would like to do, or bring up from below something that you've been kind of suppressing that you would like in your life. Kind of go to it and start researching it and learn about it. And maybe it's going to come in the form of a trip or some kind of interest, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a relationship, whatever it may be. Don't give up hope. Don't ever give up hope. There's always light on the horizon. And what is that when I say that, light on the horizon? Light on the horizon, which is a sunrise or a sunset, but a sunrise mostly, it's in the beginning of the day. You have the whole day to look forward to. And I spoke about this going back a number of years, and I would always see this rectangle, and it would show up in my dreams. And I believe that this was a mystical experience, and I sensed that it was some kind of divine intervention that I received to see this rectangle. And I would go up to the rectangle, and I would see light coming up from the horizon and water rippling in front of it, and all the colors of a sunrise, the oranges and the yellows and the reds. And it would give me hope. It would spark something in my heart. That's why I say crack open that beautiful glowing light in your heart, because we all have it. We were born with it. And maybe spark your heart and spend some time in nature. And when you see this light on the horizon, it means a difficult situation will improve. It's about faith and hope and a belief. And you can get there, whatever it is you want. Bacteria are a conscious tool. Really? I think I read that. There was, yeah. I was just about to get into something I shouldn't talk about because I'm going to get in trouble if I say it. So I'm not going to say it. Not from you, from anybody who's kind of censoring stuff. Let's move on to psychic attack before we go into psychic phenomenon. The reason why I'm bringing up psychic attack, and I have multiple times, a psychic attack is when you're sleeping, or you're kind of comes through in a lucid dream, and you pass into the astral realm. A psychic attack is during our sleep state, our dream state. And it's when we are most vulnerable. And you might consider a psychic attack to be a nightmare. Generally, I wouldn't consider a nightmare a psychic attack, but I guess you could say label it as a nightmare because you're horrified. It brings a lot of fear. A psychic attack is when some kind of being or energy arrives in your dream and causes you to stress. And those out there might get sleep paralysis during it, or they might wake up freaked out like I did this morning, and I had a psychic attack last night, and I have not had a psychic attack in months. And I was getting psychic attacks, off and on, not a million times a week or anything, a few very vivid psychic attacks. So I'll share with you what that means. And, you might have had some yourself. What I realize is psychic attacks are more prevalent and have been more prevalent because as more of this light came onto the earth and more of us are becoming awakened, dark forces are losing so much of the human factor. They've been basically harboring, ill will upon us and basically harvesting our energy for their use. The human energy, the human DNA is very, very valuable. So I was receiving psychic attacks, like I said, a few months ago, and a few of very vivid ones. Hey, MK, yes. Oh, Craig, do I know you, Craig? Hi, Mary, lovely to see you. I'm Craig in Cornwall, UK. I need to turn in now. It's nearly 1 a.m. and I will catch the rest of the video. Oh, thanks for joining us, Craig. So, Craig, I hope you liked the video and subscribe. You must have if you found me. Thanks for joining us. And so this psychic could have a good sleep and happy holidays. I'm not going to be back. I don't know if I'm going to do any videos over the weekend, but I'll definitely be back on Monday and we can talk all about and discuss all about our holidays. So these psychic attacks, I had read about them. I'd read about the black hats, and I read about them after I had one of them. And what happened was, I saw this. I was in my home and this thing came in through my front door, and he was wearing a black hat and a black trench coat. I couldn't really see his face, but the energy was so scary and dark that I can still remember it. And he came in and he walked in, and my puppy dog was here, Elsa. Elsa, who's on the couch right now. You can see her right here. I think this is her right here. You can see her. And basically was scary to me. What was this black hat? Was this psychic, whatever it was, going to harm Elsa? But it was there to threaten me to shut my mouth, because I'm all about light and that's all about dark. And they're known to be, I guess, evil. So I had that. And then I had a couple of other visits from that thing where I saw a park bench. And if you've been following me on my 11 o'clock, you would know that it was standing in front of the park bench and it was bent over. So all I saw was the black hat, the black trench coat. I wake up, I go back to sleep, and now it's standing up, staring at me. And it was again equally as scary and threatening. And I felt in danger. Now, both times when it initially happened, I woke up and I said, whew. And then I started saying, don't forget, stay out of fear, wrap light around it. Now, to me, visually, these things, were not overbearing physically. They were probably a normal size person. Last night, I had a psychic attack. Okay. And again, I'll remind you, when you have a psychic attack, it's when you're sleeping and you're most vulnerable, because you basically can't prevent anything from happening. You're sleeping. And I've been saying, think of light when you go to sleep. Think of light. Well, last night I didn't. And you have your silver cord out there in the astral realm, and then something can attack you. Well, last night I had this dream, and it seemed so vivid because it was very accurate. It was a place in my home, and I was there with someone else, and this thing came in through the door, and it was not covering itself. It was this, I'm going to describe it. It looked human, or I don't think it was human, and it had white hair. And it's funny because I think I've seen this being's face somewhere, and I have to kind of research it tonight. I haven't had time. And he had a bewildered look on his face, no shirt on, these gray like sweatpants shorts, and came in, but not my height, not even an average person. This thing was like about 6'7". It came in and I went into panic mode. I was so freaked out. And it just walked into my bedroom, my home. And I turned around, and the person I was with was like, what? I go over to the window. I start tapping on it to try to get out, and it's too pain thick. And so next thing I know, I'm crying and I wake up. A psychic attack. How are you going to prevent it? Oh, we have some notes here. Michael K., what's the name of your dog? And you should hold him up to the camera. I have been holding up Elsa, but Elsa's sleeping right now, so I can't disturb her. It's Elsa, and it's a girl, and she's 9 months old. Hamano, that entity was in my room too. He is for real, very tall, 9 feet tall. Really? He had to stand bent because it was taller than my room. Okay, so you saw this thing, it had white hair and a bewildered look, and it was like human but not human, like looked like a human. Okay, there you go. I know I've seen this picture of this person. It's very strange, this being, whatever it is. All right, so energetic impacts, mental intrusions enter your psyche, causing fear, and it will attempt to extract information. Now, for me, I thought it was the devil. Okay, well, that's a possibility too, wasn't it? Or maybe it's something very evil. Um, it's basically, I sensed, or I kind of telepathically heard that I'm here for you. And it was there to call, to basically stop whatever I'm doing. But here I am, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. What causes extreme fear and anxiety? Maybe you'll have a nightmare that will invoke attacks. So something that really is scary might bring more on. Maybe you feel exhausted. You have emotional and spiritual paralysis. And maybe you need to look at your path. All right, so let's consider some of the information that we can receive if we have a psychic attack. Now, I was under the belief that most of negativity and dark forces had left the earth, and more angels, like we shared, it's a spiritual war. And here's a picture, for example, and I don't know if you've seen this before, and here's an archangel fighting off evil. And that's what I sense has been going on. More angels have been ascending and descending from earth, from heavens on a staircase. And they've been coming down here to perform miracles and intervention and preventing anything negative from harming us. So I thought that all the psychic attacks were over. However, if it was the case that, like Hamano says, it was the devil, maybe this is last licks and try to stop me, but I'm going to keep talking about what I'm doing. And this time, if this thing shows up again, I'm going to send it love, because it doesn't like love. They can't exist in love. So some ways to protect yourself. Like I said, go to sleep with thinking of love, love, love. The people that you love, loving yourself. Clear your space with sage. You get a little bundle of sage. They sell those in like Whole Foods and some other stores. Go around and sage your home, in all the space in your home. I'm going to sage my home tonight. Be in love before you go to sleep. And this is a new one. I didn't realize this. Cutting cords. Before you go to sleep, cut cords. Imagine a cord from your heart to all of those, anyone that is really negative in your life, or someone that you do not want to be connected to, because they might be bringing negativity into your life. So you want to cut off the cord. So make sure that you cut off the cord. So you imagine a cord running from your heart to their heart, because we all have these cords. Imagine cutting off the cord, sealing it up so that they can't hinder you anymore. So there's some possibilities. He was disappointing me, so he left and never came back. Okay. Disappointed that you didn't want to follow him. Okay, well, you're here with us now, Hamano. Hamano's coming from Transylvania. All right, let's get into some psychic phenomenon, because we're hitting the 1 hour mark. And, I'm going to, after this, I decided I'm going to go to sleep really early tonight, because I want to go to the gym. I haven't been to the gym in 2 days. Let me remind you, psychic phenomenon is all about a knowing. We all have a knowing within us. We have the ability to be clairvoyant, have clear senses, abilities. We have talents beyond your imagination. The more of us that come online, all of our abilities, maybe it's going to come through and you're going to have premonitions, or you're going to have a memory, or you're going to know something about someone and you couldn't possibly know. They never told you, but somehow you have this knowing. Maybe you'll think of things before they happen. And for example, it would be as simple as carrying out a task that you just instinctively, you just had an intuition to do. And then moments later, someone said, why don't you do this? And you say, I've already done that. You just know ahead of time. You're having premonitions. You might have the ability to channel on other entities somewhere else in the universe, in another realm. And you might have conversations, clairaudience, where you're hearing someone have a conversation with you, and you have this knowing. And when I say you have this knowing, what do I mean? You have a knowing that it's not you. You have a knowing it's from an outside source, because the information you don't have. So you're receiving it. You're the receiver and they're the sender. It might come from another realm. You might lay down, close your eyes, do some deep breathing, relax, and you just kind of, your mind trails off, and then you just kind of let go of everything. And then you start to receive new information, because you're that relaxed, that calm. You're in a state of very strong serenity, and you feel peaceful. And because you feel peaceful, everything's easier to flow. Sometimes we realize that if we have questions and we're looking for an answer to something, we're like, oh, I got to find out. But as soon as we relaxed, and we calm ourselves down, it just flows easily. And that's what happens as you move forward in these activities, these exercises. You're going to realize that information is just going to flow through you, and it's not going to be difficult for you. You're going to have a self-confidence. You'll have an inner knowing. You'll have this way of just knowing, an inner feeling. Maybe you'll receive mental pictures you'll see in your head. And you most definitely, the farther you progress in this, the more chance you have of finding your people, of finding friends, having opportunities just happen to you. They say happenstance. They just happen to you. And they'll say, oh, you're so lucky, or that's a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. You're on your path. You're receiving validation. We're going to have thought transference. So let's do an activity together. I'm so happy to be here in this moment. And I'm hoping that everyone continues to join me. Like I said, I'm not going to be around tomorrow. Fridays are very difficult. It's a long day for me. Plus, I have to kind of wrap up anything. Hey, it's Angie Tillman from Georgia. What's music saying? I read that there's new earth energies. These clearing rituals aren't as necessary. I know music, except when you have a psychic attack, you have to clear stuff. That's what I thought. I was like, I'm all good. I don't have to worry. And, I got a little too sure of myself. And then sure enough, this weird thing comes into my place, into my home last night when I'm sleeping. And it wasn't like in the middle of the night. This was pretty early in the morning. This was 5 something. I woke up. We are powerful, immortal spirits. Why would these lower beings be able to mess with us? They can only if they believe they can. If you believe, well, no, you know what? I wasn't believing it could, and it came. I was like, yeah, no chance. And it showed up. So I wasn't believing it could. I don't know. I have no explanation, music. It's a test. Look, it's a wake-up call. And, you just have to accept whatever it is. It's a lesson, and keep moving. We're going to tune into our present consciousness. We are tuning into our present consciousness. Yes, you've been having attacks. Oh, we have to talk, Angie. When have you been having attacks? I'm so sorry to hear that. Angie's this food concierge. What's the terminology? She's amazing at cuisine, and she is an entrepreneur, and she has a whole line of pickled foods. So if you want to check out Angie Tillman, she has her own channel on YouTube, and you can hear little narrated diary I guess, videos about her life with her family, with her food, which she does. And it's very calming. Angie's very calming. She's a lovely Georgia peach. So let's tune in and let's do a psychic phenomenon together. Let's do an exercise. So we're gonna relax. We're gonna let out a breath. I always have a stiff neck. Oh, Elsa's really sound asleep right now. Yeah, I'm losing my voice again. All right, so we're gonna let out a breath. We're gonna be like a rag doll. Imagine your arms and legs are just like, whoa, like jelly. You're like jelly. And like I said, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you choose to. So maybe you need I have to turn my head around to relax. Let out a breath. And so we're just relaxing. We're going to breathe naturally. And we're going to send away any thoughts. Thoughts are not what we're interested in. We're really just interested in tuning into our psychic abilities. And the more we practice this, the more on our own we're going to be receiving this information. And it might come mind to mind. You might just meet someone and say, oh my gosh, it's like I've known them my entire life, and you almost are transferring back and forth, you are thoughts. And it's like they finish your sentences. You might have just met them, and in 1 second, you're already doing this. And the more that you practice psychic phenomenon, the more people that you will encounter, other beings of light you will encounter, that you'll find like instant friendships, and they'll be friends with you forever. And when we go out into this physical reality, maybe we're going to practice. You're going to see someone across the room. Maybe, it's funny, last night, I love margaritas, and I had a margarita. And it's like whatever happens when I have like one drink, it relaxes me, so I don't even have to work hard. I can read someone like so easily. And this language like rolls off my tongue. And I did that. Our bartender, I read him like that, and I knew instantly who he was just from a few words. And it goes even with people that I know. When you tune in, the information that you're receiving from your clear senses are not thoughts. It's not about what they look like. It's not the knowledge you have about them. It's more about something that, it's like I said, you're receiving this information from an outside source, another realm, just another source. All right, let's get back to this. So we're going to relax like we're a rag doll. We're going to push away any thoughts. Let's be sure that we've relaxed our breath. We've kind of come to a place of just being calm. So I'm not saying a sleeping state, but I'm saying a state of just being very relaxed. So, just check everything, make sure there's no tension. And we're going to release any thoughts, push them away. We don't want that, but we're going to drop down into our senses. We're going to make physical contact. So we really feel as though we're physically connecting with our senses. Okay? And I'd like you to, if you've been coming regularly, frequency. You've been coming regularly, that we just choose one or two of your senses to do the exercise, right? If your third eye is activated, and like I always say, if your third eye is not activated, maybe visualize light, ask for it, say, please, I want my third eye activated. Maybe put a little gemstone here between your two eyebrows and just kind of relax. Maybe you'll have a mystical experience spending time in nature. When we go to something, we keep receiving more information. And that will happen. So we're going to relax. Maybe you're going to tune into your third eye. Maybe your smell, maybe your taste, maybe your empathic, clear empathy, clear sustenance. Clear sustenance is being very clear on your feelings and someone else's feelings. Those feelings, if you're not clear, You're going to absorb the other person's feelings. It's like when you go into a crowd, you must imagine light wrapped around you, a circle of light. We'll do that exercise when we're done with this, because I think it's very important. You imagine light around you when you go into a crowd, because white light, imagine white light, you can't penetrate it. Negativity can't bother you. All right, and then we're going to remind ourselves that another choice is your clairsense, your touch. There's also claircognizance, where you just know. So maybe you're a very natural psychic, natural at clairsenses, and you just receive the information. You already know things about other people. Maybe you're clairvoyant, you have a knowing, you have this ability to kind of go into other realms. Claircognizance is you might receive information, visuals. You'll be able to send and receive. All right, so let's do this now. So we've relaxed, let out a breath, we're very relaxed. And we're going to drop down and we're going to tune into one of our senses. And I'm going to try my claircognizance. Let's see how much knowing I have. And I'm going to make the suggestion that, let's see, what suggestion should I make today? The suggestion, the last time you had fear. So you want to go to the moment the last time you had fear, and you're going to pick one of your senses. So you're tuning into that suggestion. And when you do that, you're going to receive impressions. Maybe you're going to hear someone's voice. You're going to have a recollection of that particular situation from a different perspective. When you utilize your clairsenses, it's from a different perspective. It's not your mind planning it out, thinking about it, what your memory is. It's something entirely different. It might come through as maybe you'll smell something in the situation. Maybe you're going to feel something. Maybe you're going to have a knowing. So let's try this. The last time that we had fear, go to that moment, choose one of your senses. You can use 2 if you want. I'm going to choose claircognizance, my knowing, and I'm going to see what I receive. I'm going to be quiet right now, and let's see what information we gain. Okay, so I received, this is interesting. You know that what I was going to pick, everybody who's been watching, I picked my psychic attack from last night. So I went to that moment, I went to knowing, and I have not been utilizing that clear sense of me, a knowing. So I said, my knowing, what do I know? And what was very interesting is I remembered more of the dream, more of the psychic attack. I remembered that I was having a conversation with someone in the dream, this other person that was in the dream with me. And we were very much having a very sweet, lovely conversation. And it looked like I said, 6'7" type, huge being thing walked in. And what I realize now is the doors, it was a very big extreme, and that's what caused a lot of fear. It was a very quiet, sweet conversation, and this thing whacked open the door, and it startled me. And loud sounds startle me because I had near-death experiences, and I have what's that called? I have, uh, what do I have? I have, sorry, I'm stalling here. I'm not, it's, oh my gosh. It's about, trauma. I have, trauma. What's the term? Now I can't even remember. But anyway, I think the noise startled me because I heard the noise. And then I realized about this thing that came in, the psychic attack, this entity. I realized that it was looking straight ahead. It wasn't, I was receiving mental information, but it almost looked like, or was, not a robot. Maybe it was a clone. It was something that just didn't seem like, it was definitely not human. It seemed like it was sent by someone, sent by something. So I received information. Anyone else receive any information when they did this little exercise? I can really see different energy in my third eye when I place a gem or my fingertip there. Okay. See, I like if you share with me because I'm only going by my personal experiences. It might not be what you receive. And being that we're working on our practicing our clear senses, you might receive different information and a different way of doing things. So it's really nice when everyone shares. I never see or hear anything that isn't our physical reality. I can feel energy and sometimes smell things that I can't trace the source of. Well, you know, it's interesting, music. When we sometimes receive smell, it's because it's either a memory of ours or someone that's around us. Or it might be in the actual physical space that you're in that existed at one time. I'm seeing a rectangular box like a wall around me in a room full of people. Okay. Seeing a rectangular box like a wall. Do you feel trapped? I saw something, someone's art, a triangle or a pyramid or a yellow cube, and another painting with waves and white caps. You know the yellow cube was time travel, right? Bob Harding? Bob Harding, did you know that? Well, thank you everyone for sharing. It's very thankful. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for this moment. Okay. So like I said, this is all practice. I didn't. Yes. Yeah. So they mentioned a yellow cube. I don't know if you've ever heard of Looking Glass Technology, Project Looking Glass Technology, which is this device that the military had that was from an extraterrestrial created it. And it was a way of seeing the different timelines moving forward and backward. And there was the two timelines, which was the awakened timeline, which is the one we're on. And then there was this other timeline to keep us in an illusion, to keep us in the matrix, the simulation, to have power over us. And through this looking glass technology, they realized that no matter what they did, the awakening timeline was going to happen, the fifth dimension timeline, which the three-dimensional timeline is dense, and we are actually lifting up, and we have more consciousness and more awakening. The yellow cube is known as also some kind of device that it had to do with Hillary Clinton and her figuring out how to, I guess, win the election. It was related to Hillary Clinton, the yellow cube. The box around me is light, like protection. Hello, Bob. I know you too. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're sharing that it was light. I didn't know it was a box of light. Well, that's fantastic. Well, Angie, now I'm going to segue into something. I used to find IUDs and we would get impressions before the equipment would. All right, so let me remind you, before we do the ball of light, let me remind you, I spoke about it the other day. We want to protect ourselves. And I think that whenever I bring up a topic, it's because I'm intuitively knowing that it's helpful. And so I'm showing you this, which is about loving yourself. And there's different strategies on here to loving yourself. And I'm going to share with you one sure way to protect yourself. And I know this will help Angie. One more thing. When you receive information from an outside source, it's going to come in the form of impression, which could be a tone, a sound, a visual picture, a mental image, conversation, a location, a sign, a symbol, a word, a sentence, but you have a knowing it's from an outside source. All right. I'd like you to do this exercise, and this is going to help you. And this is going to help you because light will illuminate you. And light, like we say, we bring light into darkness. And we will see all of the truth. We will see what's behind the curtain. And I know last week I mentioned about clearing a room and visualizing light. You know, you're bringing all the light through every single space in a room and bring it out through a window or door to send it out. Well, I'm going to remind you about spinning light around you. When I do this at the end of a video, it's because in my past as a healer, I would have my client in front of me. And then when I wasn't with them, I would do a remote healing and I'd have their picture and I memorize their personality. And then they would be in front of me and I'd spin light around them. Why? I would spin light around them to take away any darkness. It basically shakes the being up, the person up. So I'm asking you to do this on your own, because if we want to shed, we want to release negativity, darkness from ourselves, we imagine circling light around us. All right, so if you'd like to join us, you can, of course. So let's relax. Like I said, a rag doll, let out a breath. And now I'd like you to imagine a band of light. So this band of light, it's white light. And you can imagine white light when you look up to the sun and you see the light coming down on you. That's the white light. So white light is where all goodness is stored. Nothing bad can be done with it. It's just a place of goodness. So I'd like you to imagine a band of light. So this band of light is going to be from where your head is, if you're sitting down or standing up, depending on what you're doing. Maybe you're lying down. It's going to reach all the way down to where your feet are. So it's going to be about, whatever that is for me. Maybe it's 5 feet from the top of my head down. And this band of light, it's white light. So I'd like you to imagine this band of light is completely spinning around you. And it's going to spin 3 times. Okay. Clockwise. 1, 2. So this band of light is wrapping completely around you and it's spinning. And it's 6 feet long, 5 feet, 6 feet long. 1, 2, and you're in the middle of it. So it's around you, circling around you. Because we want to take away any darkness and any negativity. 2, 3. Then we're going to imagine the light spinning counterclockwise. 1, 2. Now I had to let out a breath because I could feel the light, because I'm really strongly visualizing it. It's very vivid to me. And so we are kind of trying to break it up around us. Okay? Let's see. All right, so let's do a ball of light now. So I'm just saying, when you go out into a crowded place, into the public, imagine this light around you. And that's what the purpose of this was, for protection. Okay. Anyone who's joining us, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Before we go, let's do the ball of light. We rub our hands together. Let me remind you, I'm not going to be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday. Maybe I'll do a quick video over the weekend so that I can say hi. But if I don't, I'm sorry. It's because I'm celebrating, and I hope you do. I hope good things for you. Have some good food, yummy food, spend time with family and friends, and relax. So we're rubbing our hands together, and we're taking them apart away from our body, and hopefully we're feeling some kind of vibration on our hands. And we're going to create a ball of light. We're going to bring light into this physical reality. And you're going to bring light into your physical reality. Right? I'm going to show Elsa before we go because she's awake now. Elsa, you want to get in this? You want to be visible? We'll say goodbye together because we love everybody out there. All right, so let's imagine what exactly. We're going to imagine that we're holding the ball of light and let's see. We are on a high mountain with the ball of light. So imagine you're on a high mountain. My hands just got a lot of vibration on the palms. So I'm going to imagine that I'm holding the ball of light. So we're going to relax. We're going to just take away any tension. We're going to let a breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now I'd like you to drop down into your senses. And let's choose one of our clear senses to tune into. And like I said, it's up to you. How much do you want to tune all the way up to 10 or 1? You have a dial. Imagine turning a dial. All right, so I'm tuning in. I'm going to tune into my clairvoyance, my third eye, my mind's eye. I'm going to see I'm standing on a mountain holding my ball of light. And what do I see? Or what do I hear? So let's have, what knowing do I have? So I hear footsteps in the snow. I'm holding my ball of light. And I see a wolf. And you know what's so funny is I have this wolf in this painting, and a wolf is actually very positive to take away any darkness or negativity. Any dark forces don't like wolves. So if you are sensing or feeling as though there's something negative in either your place of work or your home, I would suggest printing out a picture of a wolf or placing it in that location, because dark energies do not like wolves. And also, it's a good thing to put in a child's bedroom to protect them while they're sleeping, is a wolf. And that's one of the reasons why I painted that. I knew that was a very powerful animal. So I see a wolf on this mountain, this very tall mountain. But the footsteps I heard weren't the wolf's footsteps. It was somebody else. It was a person. It's interesting. First I heard the footsteps, then I heard the wolf, or saw the wolf. Let me see if I receive anything else. So the wind is blowing very heavily, and I could see, it looks like, I guess they're pine trees, because I saw a pine tree move from the wind. And let's see. And I see some birds flying. They're making noises. Whose footsteps were those? Let me see if I go to another sense I receive any other information. How am I feeling? I'm going to go to my heart. I'm feeling lonely here because I'm on this mountain all by myself. Merry Christmas and much love. Okay, that's a sign. I'm closing my hands and I'm putting them together, and I'm going to hold up Elsa because, let's see, Elsa's right here. Here's Elsa, little Elsa. Elsa's like, Mom, I'm tired. Why are you waking me up? So Elsa's saying hi, and I'm wishing everyone have a wonderful holiday. And so is Elsa. And everyone have a great weekend. And I'll be back again on Monday. There's little Elsa. Elsa's going to get some treats for the holiday. Elsa's 9 years old. Thank you, everyone. You're awesome. We love you. And I know she is. Isn't she cute? And everyone, thanks for us all being together. And next week we'll be just getting ready for 2023 because it's a big time. Like, everyone's going to be awakened in 2023. It's going to be really exciting, and the solar flash is coming. So Elsa's like, bye. I love everyone. So everyone be well. And so, can I spin light when she's on me? I don't think I can. Maybe she is the light. All right. So Elsa's sending you light and love, and I'm sending you light and love. Everyone be well. Bye. I'm changing it up. I'm changing my energetic pattern. Bye.